I'm going to give you a short update what's been going on the past few days. I'm down to the last rod. Still a little tight. I worked on this for about 4 hours yesterday. I finally got smart and locked up the crank because I was using two hands, one to hold the crank and one to spin the rod. Number 4 was the worst, and I'm going to explain why. When they machined it, a quarter of the size, a quarter of the Babbitt was machined perfectly, and when I got to this side of the rod, the Babbitt was at a taper. So it was cap on, cap off, cap on, cap off, rotate, rotate, rotate. And then I would scrape the high spots off until I finally got it to 1.5 thou all the way across. I have come to the conclusion that the machine shop that did the Babbitt work did not do the crank work, because this crank is dead nuts. There's like, I think the first journal, there's like a 1/2 thou taper on the one end, but the rest of them are dead nuts all the way across. This rod, the clearance was so screwed up, I could actually grab the rod and wobble it back and forth. I don't know. So went through many shims, and the 2000 shims I would take and put on the stone and basically hand massage these down to where I got a 1/2 thou clearance. Another thing that I accomplished is I had one rod that had 80,000 shim on this side, 67 thou on this side. I went through and corrected all these because they were all off. They all have the same amount of thou on each side. And I left the first 2 shims that you get to will be 2 thou on either side, or maybe one of them might be a thou that I had to massage in to get my 1.5 thou. This has been an ordeal. I think what I'm going to do is, after I get this engine in and running, I'm going to let it run for a few hours, and then I may pull the caps back off to see if these had burned in any. I haven't decided yet, or I may run it a season and then over the winter pull the pan back down and then take a look at the sizing on this again. This is like doing drywall work. It takes forever. Well, I thought I was done with this rod. It's only 2 thou. Well, actually, it's in between 3 and 2. And I need to get to 1.5 thou. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these shims out of here. Like I said, they're 2 thou shims. And I'm going to massage it down on that stone to about 1 thou. And then you can see these high spots. This is what I've been chasing. These are the high spots I've been scraping off to get this cap to come into spec. It's on the rod end too. I got a feeling this is going to be another couple hours of this. Gotta have patience when you're doing these. I literally have no fingerprints left after this week. It's going to take a while, I think, to get them back. This is a 2 thou shim. If I can get it down to 1 thou, that's going to get me where I need to be size-wise, but it's going to lead to another hour or so of scraping high spots. Okay, I got the bearing tight again by taking some stock off of that shim. And that sound you hear is the Babbitt polishing in. After I do this about 10 times, I'll pull the cap off and I'll see the high spots I need to hit. I got a feeling I'm going to need to take some shims down a little more than this to get that thou I need to get out of this. Like I said, very time consuming. I think the way they did this at the factory is they ran these tight, and then they had that dyno that would turn this engine dry, and it would burn the Babbitt in. I'm not doing that because the only way I could do that would be to hook a chain to the front of the car and to pull start it. I'm not hooking a chain to the front of the car. Okay, let's get this off. Well, 6 hours. I finally got it dialed in. It's a big beer day.